Hi everyone, if you watch any Jimmy Dore, and I'm assuming that most of my followers do, if not, what's the matter with you? Follow him, watch his videos, he's brilliant. He did a video, I think a few days ago, because the Koch brothers had funded a study into Medicare for All and found that over the next 10 years, a Medicare for All system, if implemented in 2019, would cost $32.6 trillion. That's what the study says. That's it. It would cost $32.6 trillion. Now, Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been on, Ocasio-Cortez, I think, was on CNN and said, well, that's $2 trillion cheaper than the current system's going to cost us. And Bernie Sanders said something very similar. And obviously, the people in the media, the people who own the media can't have that, because that means Medicare for All's a viability, and we're going to lose lots and lots and lots of money. It'll obviously cost people less for their healthcare. Everybody will be covered. But we can't have that, because that's where our money is. It's all in pharmaceuticals and the healthcare industry. So Jake Tapper did this fact check. Now, I'm going to play this, but I'm going to play it, and every time I think Jake Tapper is giving you false information, every time I think he's lying you, every time I think he's framing something in a way that is to further an agenda, I'm going to be pausing the video and talking. Fair warning, there's going to be a lot of pausing and a lot of talking in this video. So let's see what Tapper says about this fact check that he's done on Ocasio-Cortez's and Sanders' claims.
Hey everybody, it's Jake Tapper from CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org, and this week we're going to take a look at a claim made by two self-identified Democratic socialists, Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders and New York congressional candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
16 seconds. That's how long it took. 16 seconds before, you can see there, fact check. You don't, misleading Medicare for All claims, they're saying. So they've immediately framed it. Oh, these are misleading. No, you don't do that. You give your conclusion at the end, you absolute imbecile. Let's carry on playing it.
They say that a study funded by the billionaire Koch brothers, who are generally, I think it's fair to say, libertarians and conservatives, that the Medicare for All proposal would actually save the government money.
Let me thank the Koch brothers, of all people, for sponsoring.
All right, I've got to stop it here. You can see there they've highlighted the title of that, of Bernie Sanders, what he put out. I think this is on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. He put it out. They've highlighted the title. Underneath that title, it says this: an estimated cost of $32.6 trillion over the next 10 years is less than the US would spend over the next 10 years under the current system. But I just want to go back now to what Tapper says before that. But I just want to point that out. Let's go back to what Tapper was saying before that.
Generally, I think it's fair to say, libertarians and conservatives, that the Medicare for All proposal would actually save the government money.
So he's saying that Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez have said it's going to save the government money. That's what Tapper said before that.
Let me thank the Koch brothers, of all people, for sponsoring a study that shows that Medicare for All would save the American people.
Sanders said people. Sanders didn't say government. Wrong, Tapper.
$2 trillion over a 10-year period.
It shows that Medicare for All is actually much cheaper than the current system that.
So she said it's actually much cheaper than the current system. Neither of them said government. Tapper said they did. Before they played these two clips, Tapper said they said government. No, they didn't.
We pay right now.
Is that true? Did a study funded by the Koch brothers indicate that Medicare for All would actually save the U.S. government trillions of dollars?
No, Tapper, it's not true. They didn't say it would save the American government trillions of dollars. Sanders said it would save the American people trillions of dollars, and Ocasio-Cortez says it's much cheaper than the current system. Neither of them said government, so no, it's not true. Because you framed it in a totally different way, and you put words in their mouth that they didn't say. Asshole.
No, it's not true, at least not according to the author of the study.
At least not according to the author of the study. Now, just imagine you're the author of this study, and the Koch brothers give you millions of dollars to do this study, and the study comes out and gets press that, let's just say, the Koch brothers are not going to like. I think you would try and backtrack as much as possible and try and pick holes with as much as possible, wouldn't you? She's not going well, Tapper.
The study in question is a working paper from the Mercatus Center at George Mason University that looked at the 10-year impact of Senator Sanders' proposed Medicare for All plan. Now, while it's true that the Koch brothers have given millions of dollars to the Mercatus Center at George Mason University, and an AP investigation earlier this year suggested that the Koch brothers do have control and influence over the hiring and firing of professors.
So Tapper said there, yeah, they give them lots of money, and the AP have said the Koch brothers have control over who gets hired and who gets fired.
We should note, for whatever it's worth, the authors of this study said the Koch brothers did not influence them in any way.
So it's not worth anything then, is it? If the Koch brothers give them millions of dollars to do these studies, and they have a say over who gets hired and fired, as Tapper has said, what you just said isn't worth anything. He's a complete corporate shill, this guy is. Let's play that again.
As Senator Sanders' spokesperson, he told us that while the study says Medicare for All would increase the federal budget by roughly $32 trillion, it also says that the projected cost of all healthcare expenditures in the U.S. would drop by $2 trillion.
Okay, he's framed that in the most confusing way he possibly could. Let's just go back to what he said. I think it's 1 minute 33. I want to get this exactly right, because he's done a real underhand sly trick there, Tapper has, in CNN. Just listen to what he says.
We asked Senator Sanders' spokesperson.
He says, we asked Senator Sanders' spokesperson.
Told us that while the study says Medicare for All would increase the federal budget by roughly $32 trillion.
So Sanders' spokesperson has said would increase $32 trillion. That's what the study says.
It also says that the projected cost of all healthcare expenditures in the U.S. would drop by $2 trillion.
That's not what he said. He's not saying the study said that at all. He's saying the study said it cost $32.6 trillion, and that's $2 trillion than the current system we have. He's totally framed that in such a way, and he's said the words in such a way that it's just confusing to people. Who is going to look at that? People are going to look at that and go, what are you talking? So is it cheaper or not? But that's the whole point of what they're trying to do. They're just trying to confuse matters. I shall let this carry on.
The study's author says that $2 trillion drop is not actually his conclusion. He said that's based on assumptions made by Senator Sanders.
Well, yeah. Obviously. The study says it's $32.6 trillion. The current system, according to the figures we've got, is going to cost $2 trillion more than that over the next 10 years. Where's the confusion, Jake? The only confusion here is the stuff that he is doing. I really can't stand this guy.
In fact, he wrote, quote, "It is likely that the actual cost of Medicare for All would be substantially greater than these estimates, which assume significant administrative and drug cost savings under the plan, and also assume that healthcare providers operating under Medicare for All will be reimbursed at rates more than 40% lower than those currently paid by private health insurance."
So, what that guy is talking there, Charles Blahouse, what he's talking about there is not his study at all. He's actually not talking about the study at all, because that's not in the study. What he's saying is, Bernie Sanders is saying it's going to cost more than that, the current system, and now he's challenging what the current cost of the current system is. This is not this is not Bernie Sanders misrepresenting the study. What the study, I'll prove it as well at the end of this. What he's representing in the study is absolute fact. 32.6 trillion is what the study said it was going to cost. Bernie Sanders saying, well, the current system costs 38 trillion, that's 2 trillion less. And now the bloke is saying, no, it's not going to cost that much. The current system isn't. But the way Tapper has framed that is just totally confusing and misleading. It's propaganda, this is. Bullshit propaganda.
In fact, he lays out an alternate scenario that does not include savings from provider payment cuts. And in that scenario, the report says that there would be a net increase in healthcare spending. Now, we're not here to make a judgment on the viability of Medicare for all.
No, you're here to inform the American people in the most clear and concise way possible and not confuse them. And you are failing miserably, you corporate propagandist, paid mouthpiece for the oligarchy shill.
And we have no idea if the Koch brothers influenced the writing of this Mercatus.
Is said in this very piece of arse gravy, which is what it is. And I reserve that word for the worst pieces of propaganda in the media. He said in this very piece of arse gravy that the Koch brothers funded it to the tune of millions of dollars. They fund this. And also the AP has found that they basically have a big say in who gets hired and fired. And then he's come out and said, we have no way of knowing if... Oh, it's just... My head hurts, honestly. Dissecting this, my head hurts.
Center study. But it does seem pretty clear that the presentation being made by Senator Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about this study lacks a lot of context, and the author of the study says they are not being accurate.
No, it doesn't lack a lot of context at all. You're lying there, Tapper. What they've said is the study said it was going to cost $32.6 trillion, and it does. So they're not misrepresenting what's in the study at all. What you should have just come out and said is, well, Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders said it's going to cost $32.6 trillion. This study said it was $32.6 trillion. That's correct. They said it's $2 trillion less than the current system. Let's examine that. That's what he should have done. But he didn't. Why? That's not his job. His job is meant to inform the American people, but that's not what they do. He's just a propagandist for the oligarchy. That's all he is.
A reminder to all you politicians out there, you're perfectly entitled to your own opinions, not to your own facts.
And a reminder to you, Jake Tapper, and all corporate mouthpieces and corporate propagandists in the mainstream media, both in America and in the UK, you're perfectly entitled to your opinion as well, as I'm perfectly entitled to my opinion. But our job is not to just give our opinion. Our job is to inform people first of the facts and then give our opinion based on the facts. You don't do that. You just muddy the waters and try and confuse things as much as possible to push whatever it is your corporate overlords want. You're a shill. Now, things that Tapper doesn't tell you and doesn't show you in this fact check. First of all, here's the study. 32.6 trillion. He never brought that up. It says there in the bottom right hand corner, you can see I've highlighted it in level 32.6 trillion. That's what it is. So what Ocasio-Cortez and what Bernie Sanders have said is in this study is absolutely 100% fact. 100% undeniable. But Tapper's just tried to muddy the waters here. What he should have done, he said, well, actually what this is fact. Let's fact check what Sanders says the current system is going to cost. He's an absolute wanker, this guy is. Honest to God. Something else he doesn't tell you. There you go, left hand side, look at that. Almost $9,000 per person is spent in the US on healthcare. And how many now haven't got healthcare still? 40 million? And you're paying almost, what, 2.5 times the OECD average? What does that get you? What bang for the buck does that get you? Does just Tapper tell you that? All the way down there, left-hand side, 37th in the world. That's the ranking according to the World Health Organization. This is all freely available to me. I'm sitting in my front room with an internet connection, and I can give you those facts. Why can't Tapper, with all the millions behind him and all the aids and all the information that he's got at his fingertips and the $30,000, $40,000 a day he gets? Why can't he give you that information? Why? Because he's not there to actually be a reporter and do his job. He's there as a corporate mouthpiece and a propagandist for the oligarchy. He was called out on this on Twitter, and this is his response. So we reviewed everything and we stand by everything I said in the video. You can't get through to these people. I do, however, take issue, he says, with the graphic in this piece that says false, since our conclusion was far more nuanced, and I never said that word. No, you basically said they're lying. That's what you basically said. You didn't say it at the end. You said you're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. So you're basically saying they're lying. So you're a propagandist for what the corporate oligarchy want. That's what Jake Tapper is. That is one of the worst pieces of arse gravy I have ever seen. It really is. Jake Tapper, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. You are nothing but a corporate mouthpiece, propagandist shill for the oligarchy. You should be honestly ashamed of what you just did. It's disgusting that this is even allowed to be called news. Even Alex Jones doesn't stoop to this level of crap. Jake Tapper, you're perfectly entitled to your own opinions, as am I. And here's my opinion of you. You suck, Tapper. You're fake news. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.